For virtual machines running applications that are very network intense, one of the best network performance enhancements you can make is NIC teaming. In other words, put multiple network interface cards into that VM so that it gets more bandwidth to do its communication with. Now, here's an example. Here's a physical server, and I have two network interface cards in it. Let me go into Control Panel and just show you that I have two network cards. And we'll go to Network Sharing Center, change adapter settings. This is my Hyper-V server, and I have two network cards. These are the physical cards, and these happen to be the virtual switches that are set up for those, where I have the IP addressing. Now, with these two cards addressed on the same network, I can then tell Windows I want to team these NICs together. What this is going to do is give me better performance. It also gives me some failover characteristics. If one NIC dies, I still am maintaining network communication. And here's where we would do that. We'd go to Server Manager, and we would configure this local server. And I want you to notice an option here of NIC teaming. It's currently disabled. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. So if I wanted to take this physical server and NIC team it, I've got two network interfaces. I'm going to go down to Tasks, create a new team, give that team a name. Let's just call it our test team, because I'm going to delete it here pretty quick. And I can select the network adapters that I want in there. I've got additional options on how I want this to behave, and then I could say okay, and there it's going to create this team NIC. It'll take him a minute, but then he'll bring it up as a status of up and okay, and everything will be working just fine. Now that's how you do it on a physical server. What options do we have if we're going to do it for virtualized machines? Let's first get rid of this NIC. Oh, now it comes up with a status of okay. Perfect time to delete it. Let's select it, and we'll delete this, remove this from the physical server. And we'll go out and take a look at what we can do for our virtual machines. Pretty much the same concept is done here. First of all, just as a reminder, let me take you to the Virtual Switch Manager and show you that there's two virtual switches created. And I've got two of them created that are tied to external networks. So it's tied right to network interface card. And I can go to network number 2, which is tied to the other physical network interface card. And what I can do is I can use these now as the network adapters for a virtual machine and configure the network teaming. So let's go into server number 1. I'll go into settings. Now I've got one network adapter already in there. Let's go ahead and add another one. So we'll add synthetic network adapter, and I'll say network number 2. We'll apply this, say okay. Now this server, and I'm going to go back into settings. Now this server, or this virtual machine, now has two network adapters, and it's going to two physical network adapters. So he's really going to get performance, but we're not quite done yet. We need to tell the Hyper-V that underneath advanced features that we want this part to be used as part of a NIC team. So we go down here to the advanced features at the very bottom, enable this network adapter to be used. I'll apply that one, and I'm going to go to network adapter number 2, advanced features, and enable it and apply that one as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the virtual machine, and let's go configure the NIC teaming on it. I'll open him up and we'll log in. And I'm going to launch Server Manager. We'll select to configure this local server. And you can see I've got my multiple Ethernet adapters showing up, and NIC teaming is disabled. Let's go ahead and click on it and enable it. So we'll go down to Tasks. We'll create a new team, and I'm going to call this the production team. And we'll grab our adapters. And whoa, there it goes. And so now our team is set up between those two adapters. Here, I'm going to hit refresh so that we can see up, and there it's enabled. We can also remove this, go back in and delete. Let's select the production team and we can remove that team. We'll go back and we'll refresh and he'll come up as disabled. So actually we've seen two different ways to handle two different performance problems. If I have a VM that is very, very network intense, I can do what we just did, configure the NIC teaming for that virtual machine so that it gets more network performance. And also it's got that failover now capability that if one NIC should fail, I still have communication. Now, if I have several VMs that need more bandwidth, that need a higher network performance level, rather than doing them individually like this, I would do it as we started out. Remember, we configured the host originally to have NIC teaming. Now I removed it, but back out here, we could configure the Hyper-V host to have NIC teaming, and then we can create a virtual switch to that team and just put the VMs on that virtual switch. Now all VMs on that switch would get improved performance. So again, it comes down to where your performance bottleneck really lies. Is it something where you need the entire virtual host to get better performance, or is it a particular VM that you want to boost its performance on? And with that, let's review everything that we've done in this module.